Now, hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, today we're going to be reacting to a plane crashing. Okay, well, not really like any plane, not really like any pilot. This time it's a real one. Yes, we've got US Airways Flight 5049. Well, we're reacting to it. So let's react to this. Now, this is like the best one I can find. Sorry with this music. Like, this is the best one I can find for us because that has the most things in it. So we're gonna react to it now. So we're gonna tell you guys how this story happened, and this is one of the best stories to ever be. So, well, let's start reacting. So first of all, this plane is taxiing to the runway, and the flight attendant is doing the checks. He's doing the checks before departure out. And what this co-pilot is saying is the weight. Oh, it's actually not that loud. I'm not gonna lie, he's not that loud. Yeah, now the ATC gave them clearance for takeoff. And now Sully acknowledged the takeoff clearance. Now the co-pilot, he sets full thrust on toga mode. And the plane is starting to take off. And basically, before he gave that smile, he was like in the view of the Hudson's beautiful up here, right? And then the co-pilot said, "Yeah," and he gave a smile. And then he shouted out, "Birds!" And then there was a fire, and it flamed out suddenly. And then the flight attendants came out to make sure that the passengers' seatbelts are fastened. So what he basically was saying, he said, we have one rolling back, and then engine number one started rolling back, and then it suddenly failed, and then suddenly the other engine, the other remaining engine, suddenly started rolling back. Now he changed the ignition mode. So you've got 3 ignition modes on a plane like this, on an Airbus A320. Now you've got one which is normal mode. It's basically just the normal ignition mode. You've got crank. I don't really know what that does on a plane. And then we've got ignition start. And the co-pilot basically said ignition start. And now, oh no, the power went out. And now what the pilot did is he turned on the APU. And he done it for a good reason, to restart the engine. So the flight attendant said, "So what do you think it was?" And then the other flight attendant said, "I think it was a bird strike," but they were correct. And they thought they were going back to LaGuardia. Now they're basically now contacting Liguria's ATC airport to basically return. He basically said turn left. He told the pilots to turn left, and he gave them the heading. Now he wants to know which engine they lost. And now they called someone for an emergency. You can hear that. Now there's a car driving here, and a man literally saw a plane seeing a plane going over a bridge. It basically went to a city, and the pilot turned the aircraft and said, "We're gonna end up in Hudson." And then people just saw the plane crashing in the Hudson River. Now, what the flight attendants are saying is to get the passengers in a brace position. Now, if you don't know what the brace position is, it's basically where you wrap your arms under your legs and then just bring your and then fasten your seatbelt and then bring your head to your knees if there's no seat, if you cannot touch the seat in front of you. But if there's another seat in front of you that you can reach, you will basically put your arms on a seat, and then you will just put your head down, and your head is going to be facing down. Now the passengers were like, "What?" when they heard this captain brace for impact, and the passengers didn't know what that meant because they didn't read any safety information, or they didn't get a safety information video, and then the flight attendants and when the captain says brace for impact, flight attendants desperately try to get the passengers in the brace position. Yeah, some passengers are crying. Now it's just in the middle of the Hudson River. That's great to see. But wait, what actually caused this accident? If we replay earlier, right after takeoff, the plane hit birds, and then it went in both of the engines, which is not good at all. And when this happened, there were two large birds, and they basically struck in the engine, and it damaged parts of the engine. So basically, it damaged the outer part of the engine, and then it went inside of the engine, and then it went in, and then it damaged some parts inside the engine, like for example a turbine or something. And then this caused a fire, and then it suddenly flamed out. and you see they were returning back to the airport. Why did they not return back to the airport? But Captain Sully decided not to return back to the airport because he thought that it would not be a good idea to do that, because he thought if he would do that he would kill everyone on board, and then he rejected the idea of returning back to the airport and instead landing to the Hudson River. In this case, you would basically there's a 30-second reaction, because they probably would never react very fast. Like a pilot would never react that fast because they would have to wait 30 seconds, and within that 30 seconds they've got to try to restart the engine and try out some stuff before they can even make it turn back in real life. In real life you would really have to deal with that. But Sully didn't think it was a good idea to return back to the airport, but he actually could have. But he got the wrong video clips of an immediate reaction, which was wrong, but he still could have returned back to the airport. Even within that 30-second reaction, but there could have been still a chance of crash. And what about the rammer turbine? Did the pilot forget the rammer turbine? Well, he didn't forget the rammer turbine, but what about the electricity on board? When it suddenly touched the ground, why did the power go out? If you're questioning that to me. Well, the power basically went out because you have a rammer turbine, yeah? And then it spins mid-air, and it has to do a lot of things when both engines are out, like provide electricity for the aircraft and to give ability for flaps and gear. But when the aircraft touches the ground or stops moving, the turbine stops spinning. So that's why the power would go out. But you are seeing that the plane looks like it's gonna rip apart, yeah? But how did the pilot not rip the plane? Well, the pilot was very experienced, and there are always sea waves, and you have to land in between those, or otherwise if you don't do that, you can risk the fuselage being broken. So if you'd done that, it would just the fuselage cannot just handle it, and then it would just break off. And also, this was a world record. But why did the aircraft not sink as fast in the cabin, but it sank as fast in the external? But because actually there's a switch called ditching mode. What that basically does is when you press it, there are some ditching mode. There's some ditching buttons. If you press all of them, it will basically do something for the aircraft that will basically not let most of the water come in. So you've got a lot of time to evacuate. But what about? But what about before the flight? What was going on before the flight? Basically, there were some passengers scheduled for the flight. They were just basically just running towards the gate to board the aircraft because they were on a rush, and they were a runner. And then there were some passengers that were buying some things, and that's what was going on before the flight. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. I don't think a plane can turn like that. Can a plane turn like that? I don't really know if a plane is designed to turn like that. Or they could turn like that. I think they can turn like that, but that doesn't really look like it can turn like that. But what about the engines? Why did they look so wobbly? Well, it's because of the bird. It made the engine go wobbly, but it managed to not fall off. Yeah, I can hear the S word right there. And yeah, guys, that's the end for the video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to press the like button and subscribe if you want more crash investigations and all those things. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.